Hi, buddy. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Berea City Council meeting, Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023. I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please let the record reflect that a quorum is present. This time, I'll call on Council Member Cora Jane Wilson for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Cora Jane.
You all would stand with me if you don't care. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, your many blessings. Thank you for the crowd here. We pray, Heavenly Father, that you would help us to always make good decisions, to do what's right in your eyes, and to be good stewards of what you put us over. I pray for our country and all the things going on, Lord. Just move in our great city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Cora Jane. And the next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I would like to request a motion to amend the agenda to include a closed session to discuss pending litigation, and that would be inserted after number 17 and would become 17A. Is there a motion?
Second.
By Mr. Rowlett, second by Katie Startzman. Any discussion on the motion to amend the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to amend, please say aye.
Aye.
This time, I would request a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
By Mr. Cottle. Is there a second? By Jim Davis. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, please say no. Motion carries and the amended agenda is approved. This time, I would request a motion to approve the minutes of April 18th, 2023. Is there a motion by Teresa Centers? Is there a second?
Second.
Who had that, Steve? Thank you, Steve. Any discussion, changes, corrections to the minutes, edits? Seeing none, I'll ask for a voice vote on the motion. All in favor of approving the minutes, April 18th, 2023, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is Silver Creek Elementary School Playground Fundraiser. And Steve, would you like to introduce our guest speaker, or would you like for me to do that?
You can, or I thought it was Miss Heaton was going to be here, but I don't see Miss Heaton. Okay, so who wants to jump up? So I will go ahead and let the students of Silver Creek, I think mostly
And
fifth
Brad
grade.
and Sarah and the students, if y'all
Yeah.
would come up and just, you can take the floor there, and the button, you'll need to press that. Cora Jane will help you, and y'all can carry right on. And thank you for being here tonight.
Good evening. We are the members of the Silver Creek Elementary Leadership Team. We will now introduce ourselves. My name is Jacob Lowe.
My name's Skylar Jones.
My name is Ariana Matos.
My name is Natalie Anglin.
My name is Matthew Weiss.
My name is Winter Moss.
We are here today to request your support with rehabilitating our playground. We are seeking to raise around $250,000 for a complete revamp.
Our current equipment is over 25 years old and is in disrepair. Some of our equipment is broken, damaged, or covered in graffiti.
We know that our playground is important to our entire community. Many people call it the Silver Creek Park.
Families use our playground in many different ways, including playing after school, walking the track, hosting birthday parties, playing t-ball, football practices, and playing basketball at our mini hoops.
Your support in collecting donations would help our community to have better, more updated, safer place to play and learn.
We would love for local businesses and community organizations to join us on this mission to update our playground.
What questions may you have for our team?
Questions for the Silver Creek team? Steve Cottle. Steve, go right ahead.
So this isn't this, well, it'll lead to a question. So I will tell you, I know that they've done a lot of work within their school to sell candy and have different events to raise that money that they're looking for to rehabilitate the playground. I can tell you that I think the last time that they redid the playground, I was in elementary school, if that gives you any concept. Can you tell us some specific opportunities maybe that we as council people or potentially businesses may be able to participate in raising funds? Do we have anything that we know of right now, or maybe could we help you all with that in the future?
Absolutely. We are selling Kentucky chocolates for $1 throughout our school. Children love chocolates, and we've sold quite a few. We've sold $1,000 worth of chocolates already, so that's very exciting, but that's a long way from $250,000. So we just ask that you support us along the way as we try to support our students through playground learning and fun. Like we've said a couple times, it's very old, very run down, so we would love to have this opportunity to ask for your support and the support of community members throughout Berea to support us in that.
Sarah, are you able to take direct donations?
Yes, we are. Those
Okay.
can be made to Silver Creek Elementary.
Thank you.
Jim?
Is the school board helping in any way?
Unfortunately, no. Playgrounds are school-based funds. It is my understanding. I don't want to say anything incorrectly, but that's my understanding.
Interesting, thank you.
Other questions for the Silver Creek team? Cora Jane?
Well, mine is actually maybe to you or the council. Is this something, because I know not just the school uses it, I know the people in the community use it. Is that something the city can make a donation, or tourism, or?
We do have a precedent and for inclusive playground, so if this is going to be a inclusive playground, I don't know the exact terminology, that's something that we could probably work with the school on, and we of course would need to contact corporate counsel. We've done something similar where we had an agreement that the playground would be open to members of the public, which makes it in the interest of the citizens in the city to be able to support that financially. If it's not available to the citizens outside of the school families, we couldn't do it, but if it is, we could, and we do that by an agreement. Steve?
I can tell you, she made the point that it is really almost a community center, because it really is. The entire, that entire side of town uses that park, or that playground, because they do have a track and they have a field adjacent to the playground, and they have practices that go on after school that are not related. They don't have a football team at Silver Creek, and they have multiple groups that use that. So I think, and I don't know, or is the plan to have, so inclusive meaning students that have different abilities? Are we planning on making that inclusive at this point?
At this point, we are trying to put in some inclusive things that will help our kids, and are not only in our school for our special needs kids, but also outside of our school. We're trying to put in things that they are accessibility to them and they can play on it.
Thank you.
Other questions for the Silver Creek team? David?
I live out on that end of town and pass by there several times a day, and have family that teach there. So it is amazing how the community uses that and relies on that for recreation and different things. So I certainly wish you well, and those of us that attended school there, we commonly refer to that as the University of Silver Creek because I learned everything I needed to know in first grade there at Silver Creek Elementary with Miss Janice DeVere. So thank you much.
Thank you.
It's a testimonial. Other comments? I do have a couple if nobody else does. First of all, for the Silver Creek team and the young people in particular, you did a great job. Thank you for being here tonight to present what your needs are and what your plans are. You should be really proud of what you did. And one thing that we encourage, and I think that, at least I know the fifth graders were studying this, is civic engagement. So what you all are doing tonight is civic engagement, and that's what we hope that you'll do as you continue to go through life, that you'll be involved with your state, city, and national government and be involved and speak up. So thank you for being here and being engaged and involved. For the team, what I will ask you to do, any information that you have about this fundraiser that we can share on the City of Berea website or our social media, if you would get that probably to our city clerk or city administrator, Robin Adams or Rose Beverly. And then also if there's a specific request from the city and you can provide information about how the playground will be inclusive, that's something that we could look at, and that should be directed to the city administrator, Rose Beverly. If the city can help, you know, we're willing to look at that. So I know there are certain rules that have to be followed, but we can certainly work with corporate counsel to see if that's a possibility. And I heard what you guys said. Civic groups, businesses, and even individuals can help. So I would encourage people that if you're part of that Silver Creek family or the extended family or member of the community, that would be a good way to help, and we'll be glad to help share that information.
Thank you.
Cora Jane, let me come back to Cora
If
Jane.
a business or people here tonight wanted to make a donation, or council members, who would they make a check out to?
They would make a check out to Silver Creek Elementary School, and you can drop it by the front office, and you will be receipted. And all donations are a tax deduction. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
I challenge a few people up here.
And I think you might have just gotten one donation if I'm reading between the lines right, Cora Jane.
Thank you.
But thank you all, and thanks to the students too for being here. You all did a fantastic job. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a proclamation, and this is May is Older Americans Month. Tonight, we are happy to have members of our Human Rights Commission here, and also Katie, who serves a dual role. She's on the Human Rights Commission, but also the executive director, am I right on that, of Berea Home Village. So Katie Heckman is here with a group of volunteers and probably members, and also our Human Rights Commission. So thank you all for being here and for your presence at the City Council meeting tonight. I'll also note before I read the proclamation and present it, I was advised that this is the 60th anniversary of Older Americans Month. I didn't know that. So it's almost as old as I am. Pretty close. I gave that away, didn't I, Katie? But also, before we read the proclamation, I think it's important to note the value of older Americans throughout society, and in particular in our community, and the contributions that older Americans, senior citizens, make every day. With that, whereas Berea, Kentucky includes a growing number of older Americans who contribute their time, wisdom, and experience to our community, and whereas communities benefit when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds have the opportunity to participate and live independently, and whereas Berea Home Village, the Berea Human Rights Commission, Berea Senior Citizen Center, Berea Housing Authority, and Berea College Adopt a Grandparent come together to create a community, and whereas Berea citizens advocate for partnerships between the city and groups that represent the welfare of older Bereans to build an even better community for our older residents by reframing how we think and talk about aging, exploring and combating stereotypes, emphasizing the many positive aspects of aging, inspiring older adults to push past traditional boundaries, embracing our community diversity and inclusion, encouraging strongly connected intergenerational neighborhoods, helping seniors to thrive in their own homes, and working together toward an age-friendly ecology defined as a collectively built set of policies and practices that improve the lives of older adults. Now therefore, I, Mayor Bruce Fraley of the City of Berea, do hereby proclaim May 2023 as to be Older Americans Month. Urge every resident to celebrate our older citizens, help to create an inclusive society, and accept the challenge of flexible thinking around aging. And witness fixed this seal done at Berea, Kentucky, the second day of May 2023. Again, this is Older Americans Month proclamation, and I would ask our guests who are here to receive the proclamation to come forward, and I'll come with you. We'll ask Rose to take a photo, and if we can get all the council to squeeze in where you can be in the picture, city attorney included.
Yeah, behind the table. Yeah, come on. I don't want to be in the very front. You're shorter than I am. I'll hide behind the chair.
I know. I wore sweatshirts and blue.
I know. I'm in my work clothes. I was in the garden all day today.
Y'all afraid of me?
Yeah.
I'm moving to the other side.
Yeah, our side of the dais is friendly side.
I want to thank the City Council for letting us come here and for celebrating Older Americans Month with us. I think it's important that these different groups in Berea have kind of partnered together to promote good living situations for seniors in Berea. And if we're lucky, we will all be old and we will want to live in our own homes or someplace where we can stay in Berea. I feel bad following the Silver Creek students. I'm really going to have to step up my game because you did a beautiful presentation. So one thing I would like to leave in your minds is we have Berea Home Village, where older seniors in Berea can remain in their own homes with the help that Berea Home Village gives them. Transportation to Lexington, Richmond, Berea, hairdo appointments, doctor's appointments, library, socialization, activities, education, all kinds of things we do for seniors in Berea Home Village. And it's a very open group. If you can't afford to pay, we'll pay it for you. So no one should feel that they can't join. One thing that I've noticed being here in this job is that we have many Berea Home Village members and other seniors in Berea who can be in Berea Home Village for a while, but buddy, if they need assisted living, they have to move to Richmond. And then when they can't do that anymore, they can come back to our two good nursing homes. And I know people who've been here a long time know that we've tried to get an assisted living bricks and mortar facility in Berea again. I think it's time. The time has come. We're going to need it pretty soon. So please help our Bereans stay here through their entire lives, which is where we want to be, and I hope you folks will take that as something that you can work on. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. And thanks again to everybody for being here. It's real meaningful to have this big of a crowd present, so thank you. The next item on the agenda is another proclamation, and next week is National Public Service Recognition Week. So I would like to read this proclamation for Public Service Recognition Week. Whereas Americans are served every day by public servants at the federal, state, county, and city levels who supply continuity to our society, and whereas public employees serve to keep our city working by ensuring clean water, reliable power, public infrastructure, health and recreation, public safety, and proper management of public funds and resources, and more. And whereas the efficiency of government relies on public employees who provide services in the quality and quantity required and expected by the public, and whereas the public employees of the City of Berea are committed to exhibiting the highest standards of professional excellence, creativity, skill, and customer service, and whereas the City of Berea recognizes the generous contributions of the time and talent by city employees and the importances of the services they render, now therefore, I, Bruce Fraley, Mayor of the City of Berea, do hereby proclaim May 7th through 13th, 2023, as Public Service Recognition Week in the City of Berea, and call upon all citizens to recognize and express their appreciation for the important contributions of public employees throughout the city. And at this time, I know any city employee that we have in the crowd, if you would please come forward. That includes Robin, you, and Rose, you. We'll do a photo op. We'll have to get somebody to take the picture for us, Rose.
Jim, you can come take that picture.
Please, please, come on. All right, guys. Council members in the picture, please.
Simultaneous.
Here we are again.
I know, we meet again. It's nice to meet you. Okay. Country Company. Listen, hopefully, I don't work too much.
How are things been going for you guys?
Everybody get ready.
Yes.
We finally have those Michigan people coming through. It's like a sure sign of spring. All the people from Michigan heading back up north.
Yeah, well, I
Just
had
started last week.
I had some today, was staying at the tavern.
Ah.
Did Dan?
Oh wow. Sure.
So I would be honored to talk about Public Service Recognition Week. We have been trying to figure out how to have a really good celebration of our staff through a staff appreciation party. And one of our great and talented staff members came up with the idea of celebrating everyone on this week, which makes great sense. So instead of just having one day, it's an opportunity for us to have a full week of celebration of our staff and all that they do. And we'll be putting out Facebook posts and videos, and we just really want to take the time to appreciate them, because most of their work goes on kind of behind the scenes, and you really don't know that what they're doing, you really don't know what they're doing until something doesn't happen, or you have a problem, but most of what happens just runs so smoothly because we have, I would dare to say, some of the best, talented, smartest, hardworking people that you could ever ask for. And I can say that because I get to work with them every day, and I'm so grateful for that. So we appreciate everyone taking the time to allow us to do this proclamation and to celebrate our staff next week. So if you see anybody out and about with Berea logo on, take a minute and tell them thank you for their hard work, because we really are very blessed to have such wonderful people here, keeping the city going all the time.
Thank you, Rose. And again, thanks to all of our city employees who do a fantastic job. Just a little preview, we're going to do some special things, and one thing that I noted is that the city employees are the ones that really provide the services to the citizens and represent all of us so well and serve the community so well. So we're grateful for their service. Next item on the agenda is Ethics Board appointment. First one I have that I need to ask for council approval of is to appoint Diane Kirby to a one-year appointment on the Ethics Board as an alternate member. Is there a motion to approve the appointment of Diane? By Jerry Little, is there a second? by Steve Cottle. Is there any discussion on the motion to appoint Diane Kirby to a one-year term on the Ethics Board as an alternate? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries, and we'll get that executive order done tomorrow with Robin's help. Next item on the agenda is an Ethics Board appointment. This is a 3-year term for Ernestine Brashear to be appointed to the Ethics Board. Is there a motion to approve that appointment? By Cora Jane Wilson and a second by Jim Davis. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to appoint Ernestine Brashear to a 3-year term on the Ethics Board, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. And I will also acknowledge the chair of the Ethics Board who's with us tonight, and that's Mike Cornelison. Mike, we're glad to see you and former council member and my friend Tom Schultz back in council meetings. So it's nice to see you all back here tonight. The next item on the agenda is city street maintenance, and I'm happy to recognize City Attorney J.T. Gilbert. J.T.?
This is a resolution by Senate adopting updating the list of roads within the city by whom and maintaining adoption list within the city road system. List of roads within the city not in the city road system. There's a list attached to the city.
Okay, and that list was sent to everybody in advance, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct on that? Everybody get that? Okay, at this time, I would request a motion to approve and adopt resolution number 07-2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Steve Cottle. Is there a second? By Katie Startzman. Any discussion on the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 07-2023? Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 07-2023, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries, and resolution number 07-2023 is approved and adopted. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 03-2023, 145 Christmas Ridge Road, zoning change classification, and this is the second reading. Mr. Gilbert.
Ordinance 03-2023 is an ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky, changing the zoning classification of property described herein and referred to as 145 Christmas Ridge Road and owned by Nita Morris Wiles, trustee of the Glenn and Nita Wiles Trust, from R1 single-family residential to R3 multifamily residential. As the mayor said, this is a second reading. I would remind you of your 3 options on zone changes. The first is to accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission, and that would involve enacting this ordinance. The second is to review the record of the Planning Commission and make your own findings of fact and determination. And the third is to hold a hearing with evidence taken, and then you make your own findings of fact and action on the zone change.
Thank you, Corporate Counsel. At this point, is there a motion on ordinance number 03-2023?
So moved.
Mr. Cottle, what's your motion? Are you
Motion to approve the,
Planning Commission recommendation
correct.
and approve ordinance number 03-2023?
I second.
And a second by Katie Startzman. We do have a motion and a second on, which would be to accept the Planning Commission recommendation and approve and adopt ordinance number 03-2023. Is there any discussion on the motion? Teresa?
I just want to say that I appreciate all of you who are here. I know there are many of you here from both sides. For me personally, I watched both sessions of P&Z, and I feel that both sides were amply represented in those meetings, and it's a hard thing. I love so many people in that community. Christmas Ridge is my neighbor, and I understand, but I think in weighing all the options, that many of the concerns that were voiced would be worse if we don't approve this than if we do. But I just wanted you all to know how much I appreciate all of you coming out.
Thank you, Teresa. Other discussion on the motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 03-2023. Mr. Cottle.
This is one of those moments where I wish we had public comment in the beginning of the meeting, for the record. Because I would like to hear from those that are here, but unfortunately the way we have this laid out now, it doesn't really allow for that. But what I will say, and this is less about even the specific hearing, I think the important part of our role is to listen to the planning and zoning committee, and then, you know, unless they have really kind of gotten out of bounds, to uphold the decisions that they made, because that's what they've been appointed to do. I think that we've a little bit gotten in a slippery slope. We've looked at more of these from a hearing standpoint, a finding of fact, whatever, in the last 2 years than in the entire 8.5 years that I've done this, or 9 years, whatever, however long it's been. And I think it's important that we have these committees, we have these groups that put their time and energy in, and unless they're completely out of bounds or illegal, we need to follow what they've done. And in this case, it wasn't even really close. It was a 7-1 vote, and so I felt like that's kind of spoke volumes. I don't always agree necessarily on a personal level, but I have to take my personal level out of this. It's a decision that's made based on the comprehensive plan and the language in that. So again, let's move public comment back up.
Other discussion on the motion? Katie?
I echo what Teresa said. I was grateful to be able to watch the previous planning and zoning meetings, and I'm grateful to Amanda Haney and the chair, Betty Ollinger, for running those meetings, and for the many citizens who voiced their concerns or their support of the project. Ultimately, I do feel I did appreciate how the commissioners voted. I understood where they were coming from. And I also, just kind of from a development standpoint, I appreciate the fact that this is infill development, and it's creating more development within kind of a tight-knit circle of our city limits. And I think we should be thoughtful and encouraging developers and landlords who are willing to take on projects like that, because it allows us to create a more vibrant community and more residential potential other than just sprawling our way towards Richmond. So, thank you.
Other discussion from council members? Questions or comments? Cora Jane?
I agree with Teresa and what Steve said, and you see both sides, but you go back and you watch the meetings, it was a 7-1. But I will say this, as a property owner just down the road, we have duplexes. We rent basically to 50 and above. It's a choice you can make, and it's one we have chose to do. We don't weed out anybody with children. It's just that we've had so many say, I have a friend or I have this, and it's been great. The traffic is not as you would suppose, where if you have a house, normally you'll have 2 or 3 cars. These, most of them, it's a married couple and there's 2 cars there, one for each unit. And I wanted y'all to understand my point, not that, you know, I would take, if I lived there knowing what I know, the duplexes over 10 houses that could be sold off or could be rented or whatever. But it was hard. Go back and watch, and you can see everybody's point of view, and I can understand maybe if I lived right there, but then you have to take what planning and zoning said and try to wash it all out together. Thank you.
Other comments, discussion on the motion? Are you ready for the question? All right, we'll go ahead and move to a roll call vote, and I'll And again, this is, the motion is accept the Planning Commission recommendation and approve and adopt ordinance number 03-2023. Again, it'll be a roll call vote, and I'll begin with Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Centers?
Aye.
Ms. Startzman?
Aye.
Mr. Rowlett?
No.
Mr. Little?
Aye.
Mr. Cottle?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Terrell?
Aye.
I'll record the vote is 7 in favor, 1 opposed. The motion carries and ordinance number 03-2023 is approved and adopted. Thank you all very much, and I wish the young people were still here. We still have one young person here because this is a really good example of how people of all ages need to be engaged with their city government and express their opinions. And I too appreciate the viewpoints of people who've emailed me, who have commented. Everybody's input is valued. So thank you all. The next item on the agenda is department head reports, and the featured department head today is Roy Curtis, who is the Director of Public Works Department. Roy, welcome, and be sure and thank all of your staff for the good work that they do during Public Service Recognition Week. Roy, you have the floor, sir. Go right ahead.
All right, I thank you, and yeah, I've got a good bunch of guys down there. They get a lot done. Over the last month, our mechanics, they've been repairing our city vehicles, making them ensure that they're safe and working order, and they've also performed a lot of maintenance on our equipment and stuff. We're going into the mowing season, so they've gone through all the mowers, all the weed eaters, all the tractors, and making sure everything is ready to go. We've hired 2 new employees, and one of them is Ryan Taylor. He's a maintenance worker 1, and he comes to us with a lot of experience in equipment operating, and he knows the ins and outs about everything we do. So he's a real good fit to what we're doing, and he operates anything from a big excavator to a bobcat to our bucket trucks, and he's been doing this for a while, and we're just really lucky to have him. And the other one is our Jesse Rylage. He's a custodial maintenance supervisor. Okay, he's on board now, and over the last couple weeks he's been going through our buildings and developing a plan and seeing what all we have and what we need. And let's see, I think it's tomorrow morning we're going to have interviews for his assistant. He'll be just a custodial and maintenance worker. But we'll try to pick a good one for that, and maybe we can get stuff rolling. Okay, over the past month, crews have been busy picking up our roadside trash. They've also been mowing the short grass. Been doing a lot of brush removal. Since the storm last month, we have had a bunch, and I've never seen so much. They've had to push off out there at the landfill about 3 or 4 times. So it's a lot of brush coming in that's still coming out to the curbs. Let's see, we've encountered all the brush from the windstorms, and we've also been repairing and patching potholes. Been doing some stump removal with our new stump grinder that we had purchased. We made a lot of progress out at the shooting range. We dug all we could dig with our excavator, and then we hit some really hard slate. So we had to rent a big excavator out of Lexington. It had a big hammer on the front. So they spent last week and I think 1.5 days this week chipping all that out. But we moved a lot, and we've got it cut down to the grade that we need up at the front and the width. But there's still some fill that we're going to have to push around to make it 100 yards long, and then we'll have to get some loose fill to put over it to fill in all the slate and stuff. But once we get that accomplished, then we can start hauling some dirt in and start building the berms and getting everything ready to go. Okay, and then we started today out on Brooklyn Boulevard. There's a culvert out there, and the head wall is in between the apartments. And the way the water flowed, it's been flooding one of utilities' transformers back there in the back. So what utilities has done, they purchased the culverts to go from the head wall behind their transformer. So we're gonna, they started today, they've already got both pieces of culvert put in, got that dug out and put in. And we're gonna start tomorrow bringing in some fill and covering that. And one problem we had there too were the head walls between the apartments. It was a real steep bank that went over to the head wall. And it's kind of dangerous. There's a lot of kids play out there and people walking around in the dark. And, you know, it would be easy for somebody to get hurt on that. So it'll be a lot better by putting the culvert back and just filling that in. Okay, and the weather, it's improved a lot over the last few weeks, and we hope it keeps getting warmer and maybe a little drier. But that's going to give us a chance to start on some of our concrete work. We got several sidewalks and drainage issues and curbs that are in need of repair. So that'll give us a chance to work on some of that. And then we've been gathering our materials for the Rose Street drainage project. We've already picked up the storm boxes in Lexington, got the grates and everything. And we're gonna get the culverts and all that and have it ready to go. We're gonna need about a week of dry weather, and we can get the boxes in, all the drain tiles and all that. And then after that, we'll have to do all of our concrete work because we're gonna have to pour new curbs and gutters, and then we'll have some road patching to do. But we're getting ready to get started on that. Yeah, there's just a whole lot of stuff been going on. It's hard to mention all of it. But does anybody have any questions about what we're doing or what we need to do? Or
Katie?
Do we ever share the list of paving online so that folks might know if we're going to be doing paving in their neighborhood? It's quite a long list for this spring.
Yeah, today we had I don't know if they put it online, but they notified all emergency services and stuff in the schools for bus routes. Because we were patching a road down on Glades Road by the Christian church. Yeah, we had a sunken in spot there, and they had to cut all that out and then re-blacktop.
Other questions for Roy? Other questions for Roy? Roy, good job. Thank you again. Appreciate all the work you do and all the work that your staff does.
Well, thank you. I'm sure they'll appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. All right, this is department head reports. I see a few department heads in the room. Any other department heads would like to address the council? Kevin? I recognize Utilities General Manager Kevin Howard.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Administrator Beverly, a couple of things that I wanted to bring to your attention and for approval tonight. And, you know, in order to follow our purchasing and procurement standards. The first is Glade Street West needs to be resurfaced. I've been working with Administrator Beverly and our Public Works Director on this. We've got the pricing in. We've got an 1.25 inch galvanized line out there that for years we've been repairing that line. We make one repair, we have to do another repair. Initially we'd planned on doing this around 2019. We done Glade Street East. That year we replaced 425 feet of 6-inch pipe at a total of $19,680. We got a bid also in 2019 for the west portion. That is 10 water meters, approximately 600 feet of pipe, 2 gate valves, and a hydrant that needs to be replaced on that side. 2019, there was a bid for $34,400. 2020, we reached out to another contractor for a bid of $31,900. At the time, we were just going to go ahead and advertise this, try to get more of a competitive bid process. But you know, we're really struggling right now to find contractors. You know, the great contractors are already busy, and I've literally been trying for a year to get another quote. I did get a quote, local contractor, GT Construction, quoted, and what's important here is he says that he could get on this right away for a bid total of $29,899. And also I want to point out on that included the 6 to 8 inches of base on the finish, so it'll be ready to blacktop as soon as we get in there and get it taken care of. Then we can come in and pave that street. So my recommendation would be to accept the bid of GT Construction for a total of $29,899 to install 600 feet of 6-inch C900 water pipe.
Rose, does that require a motion and a second? Okay, we will request, is there a motion from Jerry Little to approve accept the bid of GT Construction, amount of $29,899 for work on Glade Street West? Is there a second by Cora Jane Wilson? Is there any discussion on that motion? Does anybody need me to repeat the motion? I knew you were going to ask me to repeat the motion.
No.
Oh, okay, you have a comment?
I got a question.
All right, go right ahead, sir.
Who is GT Construction?
Gary Cheeks is the owner of GT.
That's what I thought, but I was make sure.
Other questions, comments, discussion on the motion?
Comment just for clarity, Glades Street is in the Dixie Park neighborhood and not to be confused with Glades Road, which we all travel many times a day.
As you pull into North Powell, we call it east-west. The portion to the right of Glade Street was completed in 2019. This will be the portion to the left.
Any other discussion or on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for a voice vote to approve the general manager's recommendation to accept the bid of GT Construction in the amount of $29,899 for work on Glade Street West. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries, and we will approve and accept that bid from GT Construction. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. One more item, as everyone knows, this has been going on. One of these vehicles we've been trying to get since the spring of 2020. During the amended budget process, I amended a budget line item to include a service tech vehicle in our electric division. The vehicle we had some serious issues with it. At the time that out of amended budget, we had a quote on the state pricing contract, and you know, I amended the budget to include that. Probably 2 weeks after we went through the process, the dealership reached out and said they were not going to be able to supply the vehicle this fiscal year. So we went to we put out an RFP, sent this to a total of 5 different car lots, and we were asking for a quote for 2 pickup trucks, pretty much identical, as base as you can get, 4-wheel drive, just a base unit. We opened those bids on April 18th. We had 2 dealerships responded. One was Gates Ford Lincoln. They submitted a bid of $38,753 each. The other bid was from Don Franklin Auto, $38,299 each. Very competitive. I will point out on the Dodge is a 2020 model year. The Fords are 2023. But even with that in consideration, we also had a couple options that we had listed as alternatives. Both of these vehicles need power inverters. Both of them also driver and passenger side toolboxes. That's probably an additional $750 to $1,000 that were included on these Dodge pickups. And this has been approved through the budgeting process. One would go to the administrative division, the other would go to the electric division. And I was just going to recommend that we accept these bids from Don Franklin Auto for the two 2022 1500 Dodge pickups.
Motion by Jerry Little, second by Ronnie Terrell. Is there any discussion on the motion to accept the general manager's recommendation to purchase two four-wheel drive 2022 Dodge pickups from Don Franklin Auto, $38,299 each? Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries, and we will accept the bid of Don Franklin Auto. Kevin, thank you for your work on that, and thank goodness we're finally able to get vehicles again.
I forgot to point out one important aspect of that we took into consideration on the Fords. It was a 5 to 6 week lead time, and I did speak to each one of these submitters. And the Dodges, there's a possibility we can get them as early as Friday. So,
Good.
thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, council. Any other department heads that would like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward to public comment. Would any members of the public like to address the council? Sir, if you'll come right on up, and Cora Jane or Ronnie will help you turn that on. While you're coming to the podium, let me read this real quick. Public's given the opportunity to speak to the council during public comment portion of the meeting. Any public comments exceeding 3 minutes should be scheduled as a presentation to the mayor's office. When recognized, please go to the podium, state your name and residence address for the record. Comments should be business oriented, and we ask for no inappropriate language or naming of any person individually during your comments. Sir, you have the floor. If you would give your name and residence address, please, and then you can proceed.
Hello, John Heiser, 296 Baldwin Street, right off of Jefferson. Over the last month or two, we've had a lot of four-wheelers, dirt bikes, racing around the neighborhood. The police have been called several times. I imagine this yesterday, Sunday, we had a couple of units respond, and shortly after that, it got quiet. Tonight on my way home from work, there's one, the kid's sitting there working on the thing right in the middle of my road. And, it's a matter of public safety. These are not licensed drivers. They're going over the speed limit. They have to be, or at least they're doing, too fast. If I'm backing out of my driveway for one of them to stop, and I mean, they're right on the road. And this isn't the county. This is the city. I don't know if there's a city limit, ordinance or, the police do an excellent job when they come out and when we call them. I love these guys, but I'd really like to see something get done where they can maybe get a fine. 3 fines, we take your, whatever you all decide. I don't know, but thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you bringing that to our attention, Mr. Heiser. And of course, I'll refer that to our police chief, Jason Hayes, who's here tonight. I will note that every shift does a report, and I've noticed on there several times where in your neighborhood, in Birchwood, Baldwin Street, and all around through there, that we do get reports. The ones that I've seen, just to tell you what I've seen, was that warnings are given, and I don't know if that's because they're juveniles or what the case may be. That's not kind of my wheelhouse, more Jason's, but we'll certainly ask the police chief and our police department to look into it to see what we can do to eliminate that issue.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I wasn't aware of this issue. Certainly we can provide extra patrol in this area.
We could send them to Ronnie's for an hour.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That sounds like a plan, Mayor.
I
I'm
do
just
have
kidding.
a question about what the regulations are related to vehicles like that. Like I was mentioning to Teresa, my husband has noticed a lot of traffic actually like around the municipal building. We live up on Jackson Street.
And it's so hard because he calls and then they're gone, you know. So are you allowed to drive a four-wheeler around Berea right now? Or the vehicles like you're talking about? Can you give us some guidance on that?
I believe per state law, you have a certain amount of roadway to get to trails. So if you're trying to get somewhere, you have that capability to drive on the roadway for a small, I can't remember the exact amount of roadway that you can be on, but obviously it's something that we would enforce if they're just driving around all the time in neighborhoods or in this gentleman's neighborhood, we can provide extra patrol. But yeah, it is an issue that you know, once we see it, we take care of it. But sometimes, a lot of times, when people call for stuff like this, they are gone by the time we get there, and they see us coming, and it's hard to chase down a dirt bike in a police car.
And again, Mr. Heiser, we appreciate you bringing that to our attention, and I'll ask the police chief to make sure that shift supervisors are making our officers aware of that particular issue and trying to do what we can do to address it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
They're
sir.
more than welcome to park a unit right in front of my house. And leave it there for however long they want. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Mayor, I got a question for
Go right ahead,
Heiser.
Jim.
Is this more on the weekends or weeknights, or do you see any?
Yes, sir. It's more on the weekends.
Okay.
I mean, there was one, like I said, he was working on it as I'm driving home at 5 o'clock tonight, but it's, you know, as it gets warmer, summertime, and it'll be out every time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Would any other members of the public like to address the council? All right. Sure, Dwayne, come right up, and if you would, Dwayne, state your name and residence address for the record.
My name is Dwayne Litton. I live at 70 Christmas Ridge Road. I appreciate the council and the decision you had to make tonight. I don't agree with it, of course. The only thing in your language that bothers me, there was nothing binding to the 55 plus. So I know some other neighbors in my neighborhood that we've decided we would like that 55 plus because it is a bonanza now. And we want you to know that. Even though you may be 55 or whatever you are now, and you maybe have only 55 there now, Cora, you're not going to be there forever. It will change. And if that changes hands, there's nothing binding to keep it at 55 plus. So I think the language wasn't there to ensure that. And I think that was a mistake for the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate you being here. I'll note that Dwayne and I grew up together on Christmas Ridge Road. Known each other, a couple other people from Christmas Ridge in the room, so appreciate all my former neighbors being here. All right, would any other members of the public like to address the council, ma'am? If you'll come up and state your name and your residence address for the record. We get 2 for 1 tonight.
Two
I
for
like
one.
it. All right.
I'm Anna Keller, 208 South Powell Avenue, Apartment 2. And I addressed the council 2 meetings ago about proposal for redevelopment of passenger rail through central Kentucky, and I want to thank the mayor for the letter of support. That helped us get the attention of the State Transportation Commission, who are considering including the line in their next state rail plan, which they're currently have this bid out to the contractor. They're having the scoping meeting, so if there's enough demonstrated support. And I would be interested if there is a member of council who would have some time to talk in some more detail about what other things the city would like to have included in the state rail plan, because we have their ear right now. I don't know what the status is, for example, with the Manellis Road bridge to Ferristown, and if there's anything holding that up, but right now we've got the ear of the State Transportation Cabinet, and I would love to use that for the benefit of the city.
Good, thank you, and thank you for your grassroots effort, and I'll tell the young people. Sarah, make sure you tell the students another good example of civic engagement and a citizen who is working hard to make a difference for the whole community. So thank you, and I will say this, if you will, I think Rose probably has your email address, but if you would email her again for me, please, just where it's on the top of her stack, she can send that out to the council, and anybody that has ideas or would like to discuss that with you, they can contact you directly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Would any other members of the public like to address the council? All right, seeing none, we'll move forward. At this point, I'll call on Rose Beverly for the city administrator's report. Rose?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and city council members. I want to start by talking about really quick, just piggybacking on something that Kevin was talking about earlier with Glade Street, the underground infrastructure. One of the goals that I had coming in here is coming into this role, when we do the street infrastructure projects, I wanted to make sure that if there was underground infrastructure that needed to be taken care of, that we coincide and work together so that we were doing those congruently and not separately. The worst thing that could happen is you redo a street and then have a whole issue happen with water, sewer lines, and you're in trouble then. You have cuts everywhere and it's just not good. So I wanted to give a shout out to Kevin and tell him thank you. I gave him, I let him know we were doing this, we've been communicating, and he brought that street. We knew it needed to be done, but he said, I need to get this done, and we are now working together to make sure that that's happening at the same time. So I appreciate that. I wanted to also let you guys know about Ellipse Street. We will not be doing that project this fiscal year, and I do know that for sure at this point. They are now requiring for TAP grants that you have somebody out there to inspect, and it's a certified inspector and certified in so many ways that you have to have them out there the entire time during construction, watching. And that's a federal regulation that's been handed down to the state. Now the state's handing it down to us because those are federal funds. So we don't know when or how we're going to figure this out. We are obviously not the only city or grantee in this position. There are several others, I'm sure. So it's pretty much a statewide problem. Try to find that. And we are working out and trying to get creative, but I just want to let you know I know that we won't get that done this fiscal year, and I didn't want to have anybody's hopes up on that when I know it's not going to be a reality. We will get it done. It's just a matter of how now. So, and lastly, just let you know, the Parks Department has several lifeguard positions that need to be filled still. So anyone who might be interested, please keep in mind that at the end of the pool season, the city will reimburse guards for the cost of their lifeguard certification course, which is $250. And if you apply soon, we'll be excited to have you. We need to get some help here. So if you know anybody who wants to be a lifeguard or has thought about it, tell them to come see us. And pool season's rapidly approaching, so help us out. That is all I have. I would just open it up to questions if you have any for me.
Questions for Rose or comments?
Not even from Ronnie. All right.
All right. Thank you, Rose. Good report, and appreciate all the work that you do as well. For mayor's comments, you all will be surprised. I'll be brief. I only have one item. This week is Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and we do have a professional municipal clerk, Robin Adams. And Robin keeps all of us straight and organized, all of us, but also our boards and commissions. She's very much involved with them, making sure that notices are posted when appropriate, providing information. And the other thing is that I can't even find the milk in the refrigerator when it's right there. But Robin can find any document that you would ever imagine that you might need. So we're very grateful for Robin's service to all of us, to the city, and to the citizens as well. We're a better and more efficient city government with Robin, thanks to Robin. So thank you, and happy Municipal Clerks Week. All right, thank you. And that is all I have. We'll next move to council comments, and we'll begin on this end with Jim Davis. Jim, you have the floor.
Robin, just go ahead and take the rest of the week off with pay. Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome. Couple of things. I want to thank the young people from Silver Creek for coming tonight. They did an excellent job. Are you their teacher? I am the school counselor. They did a good job. Berea Home Village, Katie, you've got an excellent program going there, and you do excellent work, and keep going, because I'm almost there. I may need you. Christmas Ridge, people that sent emails, called, thank you for your comments, your input, didn't go unnoticed. It's one of those decisions sitting up here you don't really like to make, but we had to make one, so bear with us on that. And I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. We'll next move to Teresa Centers. Teresa.
Well, I'm not going to repeat word for word what Jim said, but I agree with all that, and thank you all for coming tonight. Seriously, this is good when everybody comes out and lets us know you're there. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Well, next we'll move to Katie Startzman. Katie?
No comment.
Thank you. Next we'll move to David Rowlett. David?
A couple of things. First of all, I want to explain my vote. Of course, it was 71 voted things, but I want you to understand that I recognize and appreciate the efforts to develop housing for our seniors. Look around the room, we're all great, much faster than some. Thanks. Anyway, to explain my vote, I do support the need for housing for the older folks here in our community. At the same time, I know that area very well. I think the concerns that the citizens voiced about the road, it is going to be an issue, whether they build houses or apartments or whatever. That intersection there at the store is, in my opinion, the most dangerous intersection in our community. The third issue, and I don't know that many people thought about it, but the bypass will eventually be finished here in a few weeks, and that's going to change our traffic patterns big time. Obviously, if the folks from the quarry will work with us, we'd like to see those trucks go around the bypass and not come through Prospect. But I can assure you that when we have an issue on the interstate, those cars are going to find the quickest way from point A to point B, and some of them will no longer come down 25. They'll come out to Prospect and up into town. And if you think there was an issue there for the Guild Fair when those folks were doing festivals and things, wait till we have interstate blockage, and they end up blocking the road out at Gabbard Town and try to make their way up over the mountain and down to Mount Vernon and Fairview and those places down that way. It's going to be a real concern. So if nothing else, I think our Public Works Committee and the folks here need to be working on some signage and things to prevent those big trucks from getting into our residential neighborhoods. So, thank you.
Thank you, David, and I can vouch that a semi did try to go up Loman Hill to Climax. That's the truth.
Wow.
So, thank you. Next, we'll move to Jerry Little. Jerry. Thank you, sir. Steve Cottle. Steve?
I'm probably really biased, but the kids from Silver Creek did an exceptional job. I will tell you, I was fortunate enough to go to a career day at Silver Creek, and fortunate in two ways. Number one, I didn't have to go behind either of our chiefs because my job's not nearly that exciting. And I specifically said, please don't put me with the police officers or the firemen. But to hear the students that are in our elementary schools is really a testament to the future of our city and the future of our country. We hear all the time, it's really actually comical if you go back through history and read all the times that people complained about the next generation or whatever, but I assure you, spend a little time with these kids and we're all fine. They did an exceptional job tonight, and thank you for bringing them here, and I'm excited to see what you all do with the playground. It's definitely needed, and it seems like I have candy bars in my house all the time. So on the proclamation, it's great work that's being done by Britt Home Village. I remember when that kind of got off the ground, and it's really amazing the growth of the program over that period, and thank you for everybody for coming for that. And I will also say that we had the Public Service Recognition Week, and I've said this before, but I'll repeat myself and say that we have an exceptional city. And as a city, we have a very exceptional history, and we have many things to offer that a lot of places don't. But in a lot of ways, we are not outliers to all the other little cities across the country, across the state. But what I can tell you is that we have exceptional public servants in every level of our city. Roy talked about the work that they're doing in the street department, and I will say that a lot of it seems mundane until your street's not fixed, or your street's not scraped, or your brush isn't picked up. And a lot of our citizens, I think sometimes we don't realize how much work on a daily basis our employees do. And I hope for the next week that we all get the opportunity to say great job to everybody, whether it's our public works, our finance department, our fire department, our police department, parks as we enjoy the beautiful weather coming up. But thank you to all of our staff, because you all make it very easy to do this job, because we have very little to worry about most of the time, and we squabble and complain sometimes about things, and we get that right because our employees do such a great job. We don't have to worry about big issues a lot of the time. So thank you to our staff that do that, and our city administrator who leads them on a daily basis. So thank you for coming, and I'm impressed that you all stuck around this long.
Thank you, Steve. Cora Jane Wilson. Cora Jane.
I just want to thank everybody for coming. The kids at Silver Creek, just really impressive. Great job. What grade were most of them in? Fifth grade. You probably said that, and I heard the leadership, but great job. And some of us are gonna really try and get you supported. I know people. And if you really hound them a lot and smile real big, it'll work. But I think you can do it, and we'll do it. Katie, thank you for all you all do. She reminded me in the hallway that I'm old. I appreciated that. What a way to boost my month. But in Christmas Ridge, I know y'all. Love you. Dwayne, we work together. I'm not going back that far. But hard decision. But hopefully it will be okay. Hopefully they will do what they say. And if not, I will shame them. And they know it. And Robin, good job. And to all of our city employees and staff, you all are wonderful. People don't brag on you enough, in my opinion. But let me tell you, if your electric goes off or a water line breaks, they're going to be calling the utilities. And if something's in the road, or the snow's not scraped, or even a dead animal or a big mattress, Roy, you've been there. And fire department, police department, couldn't do without you. I appreciate you all. Donna and tourism, finance, you all make the city click. Thank you. And Amanda, bless your heart. I think of you like a cut-off day at the utilities. Not the funnest job, but thank you all for what you do. That's it.
Thank you, Cora Jane. And for the last word, Ronnie Terrell. Ronnie?
Well, I want everybody to look at Amanda's hair. She was bragging on it this morning at City Hall. And she does look different, I'll say that much. But that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you for those words of wisdom, Ronnie. Appreciate that. The next item on the agenda, don't pack your stuff up too quick, because we did amend the agenda. At this point, I would request a motion to move into closed session to discuss pending litigation per KRS 61.810C.
So moved.
By Mr. Cottle. Is there a second? By Mr. Davis. All in favor of the motion to move into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries, and thank you all for being here. We will go into closed session, and we will reconvene in open session to adjourn the meeting later. Is there a motion to return to open session?
So moved.
Steve Cottle, is there a second? By Cora Jane Wilson. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to return to open session, please say aye.
Aye.
I will report that the city council met with corporate counsel in closed session to discuss pending litigation under KRS 61.810C, and no decisions were made. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Teresa Centers and second by David Rowlett. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The meeting is adjourned.